Prabhupada's amazing commentaries. Okay? So that's the first thing. If we know that simple thing, we will be able to transcend the three modes. So this chapter is actually a very important one. Right. So I'm going to now try to find the folder that's our introductory slides. We have introduction slide. We have, because this chapter lends itself very effectively to visuals, we have a lot of visuals. And we will begin, because normally we used to start with the study guide, but I've learned now, let's do some other things first for variety. First of all, when we study, we want to know where we are. Okay, we always do that. So here on this particular chart, we know we are in the beginning of, we are in the second chapter of the Gyan section. Everybody knows that. The Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga are the upper and lower, if we compare it to the oyster shell of the pearl that's Bhakti. And this section on Gyan, it's from chapters 13 to 18, so we've already had 13, which was very technical. This one is an elaboration on the information on 13. And the next slide will, how did I go that way? How do I slide forward? Okay. Explain to us what these sections mean in terms of language. Karma means renunciation. How do I give up the fruit? Vairagya. And Gyan means knowledge. So this section focuses on knowledge, and today the knowledge will be focused on the three modes of nature. That's the title of this chapter. Bhakti is devotional service, and that is the only way, that's the pearl. That is the only way to attain Krishna. Bhakti means Krishna, bhakti-yoga. So that's in the middle, protected. Now Prabhupada has explained Gyan is essential because he said without knowledge, we cannot perform renunciation. We cannot give something up unless we know why we did it. We can't give up. We've given up all of the, obviously you're sitting here, all the big karmic habits that most of the world engages in because we've been blessed with knowledge from Srila Prabhupada. So that's the importance of Gyan. People find it a little dry, but Prabhupada said the other reason we have Gyan is because without Gyan, you cannot come to Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta is the beginning of bhakti. Right now, if we're doing sadhana bhakti, it's practicing bhakti. But Gyan elevates us to Brahma Bhuta, where we are no more identifying with the body or the mind. Now, that's not a cheap level. You're completely on the spiritual platform. Right now, we're not Brahma Bhuta, we're Jiva Bhuta. So until we have no connection with this mind or this body, we need knowledge. Without knowledge, you cannot get to Brahma Bhuta. And that's just the beginning. That's not the end. You have to go further to bhakti and connect with Krishna's lotus feet for the permanent blissful solution that's eternal, it's knowledge, and it's happiness. That's the ultimate stage. Okay, now this is our problem. We've had this from the last class. We are encaged in bodies. We all have a body. And you see the chart there on the left. Those are the 8,400,000 species that we have been going through for countless days of Brahma lifetimes. And we don't remember them. Does anybody remember being a bird, a tree, a butterfly, a lion? We probably can't even remember the past life unless you have some kind of remembrance of the past. So it's a little hard for people to accept that. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we know that the human form of life, if you look at the numbers, It's only 400,000, and there are 8 million other species we've been rotating through helplessly. So in this chart behind me, we are in the lower portion. We are trapped in the material energy. We're marginal. We are in a stage where we can be in the spiritual energy if we so desire, but it takes knowledge. And that's what this chapter will give us. How to transcend those 3 ropes. Okay? So this is where we are, what our problem is. Now, I hope you find this a little amusing, but the 3 modes are all around us, and we're trying to help people learn to see that. Right now, it's very popular for people to have WhatsApp on the telephone. Does everybody here have a telephone? How many people here have a telephone? Everybody? Almost. How many? Usually now, if you introduce to somebody, the first question they'll say, "Are you on WhatsApp?" That's all they want to know. Are you on WhatsApp? So I took a picture of the 3 modes on WhatsApp because it's there. It starts with the smiling faces, and then as you go to the middle, they look a little bit miserable. And the further you go to the right, they become mad, ghastly. This material world, everywhere you turn, you will see it. So I thought you'd like to see that. So the next time you go on WhatsApp and you want to press a button, you ask yourself, well, am I feeling happy today? Or am I feeling a little bit sad? Or am I feeling downright angry? It's there. The thing that's amazing about this chapter, I have to point out many things that are amazing, because every chapter I think, oh, this chapter's interesting in this way. The other chapters are philosophically, we're dependent on the paintings. We're dependent on the artist's renditions. I don't think anybody here has had private darshan with Arjuna, right? And I don't think anybody here saw the universal form. Anybody see the universal form? And, has anybody had direct darshan with Krishna besides the deity? Right? The deity is it's not second best, but I'm talking about you directly, like Prabhupada was talking with him, right? So we're dependent on the paintings. But in this chapter, because of technology, because of telephones, we have tons of pictures and videos. Because we are in the modes. And that's what we know. That's what we see. So it was easy to get visuals. Other chapters, I was really having a hard time on the universal form. I had to try to squeeze it out of 55 slokas out of a handful of paintings. It was difficult. But here I had to restrain myself. So many pictures showing the modes. So you see why this is an interesting chapter? We are in them, and we want to get out. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this chapter will do for us. By Prabhupada's mercy, he has given us transcendental eyes, right? Our material eyes see according to our modes. Your virtual reality, everybody sees according to what he is. He projects. If he's a thief, he thinks everybody's a thief. If he's a saint, he thinks everybody's a saint. If he's a pure devotee like Prabhupada, why did he succeed? Because he said everybody's a pure devotee of Krishna. We project. We think others are what we are. So we do not see the hidden story. But today the focus is on what you don't see, and to start seeing that way. If you were here for chapter 13, we had everybody hold up a picture of Paramatma. Now, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we understand Paramatma, but we probably don't walk around and see Paramatma the size of a thumb in everybody's body, right? We do not see the strings on us. Can anybody see the strings on you? No. But they're there, completely controlling you. So the theme for this chapter, we have 3. Medicine. The book is the treatment of our disease. The second theme is art, the 3 colors. How the modes are represented in 3 colors, and that, if you can see how an artist will do a painting with 3 colors, it will shock you. And everybody is a marionette, a puppet on strings. Now, do you think of that very much? Very often, when you see somebody, do you say, oh, that person's a puppet? But if you see this video today, and these videos, this is all of us. We might have even been any one of these things. Who knows? Right? Who knows? So today, this chapter 11 gave us the divine vision to understand the universal form, Virat-Rupa. 13 gave us the divine vision, transcendental vision, to see Paramatma. This chapter will give us the divine vision to see these strings. The strings. So you see the importance? Without Prabhupada, we couldn't understand this. It wouldn't make much sense. Now here we go with the 3. Medicine. The book is our treatment. Bhagavad-Gita is our treatment. Krishna will help diagnose the problems. If we listen to the problems, we all have them or we wouldn't have a body. The artist, how nature gave us this body. According to our previous actions. At death, we will be given a future body. So this is very important because every movement, every thought, every word, thought, or deed is creating the next body. There's no break. The devas are computing it right now. Right now, your next body is under construction. At death, you do not want another material body, right? You want a spiritual body. Your spirit, you have a spiritual body. Right now you're taking repeated material bodies. So the idea in bhakti is to, in a material body, perform devotional service, come to the transcendental position, and it's possible while in the material tabernacle. We have to elevate above that, but it can be done. Prabhupada and Krishna are merciful. By bhakti-yoga, we can start to come to transcendence. Now, this is very important. Chapter 4 is one of 3 chapters that deals with the modes. How many chapters deal with the modes? Hold up 3 fingers. 3 chapters deal with the modes, not this chapter alone. Some people think that's it. It's not it. This chapter is general. It's general. It's general characteristics that define the modes. There are only 4 items. How many? 4. Okay, in chapter 14, there are, hold up your fingers because it makes a difference. Everybody hold up your fingers. Believe it or not, if you do the gesture, you will remember it better. It's called kinesthetic learning. We've studied educational processes. The more you do with the body, the better you remember it. Just the mind, not enough. 4 topics in this chapter. In chapter 17, we see the external manifestation of the modes. Specific. How will it manifest? In how many items? 6. Hold up 6 fingers. Everybody? 6 items in chapter 17, and they deal with the external manifestation of the modes. Specifically, 6 topics. In 18, we see now the Gyanendriya. What happens on the subtle level? What's the mentality? We cannot observe that. We can see how somebody worships, we can see how somebody eats, but we don't know how much somebody knows. So chapter 18 deals with 7 topics. How many? 7. So the first, chapter 14 deals with how many? 4 topics. Chapter 17, how many? 6 topics. Chapter 18? 7. And these are Gyan. These are Gyan. And Prabhupada says, unless you know this section, I've heard lectures on this, he says you cannot come to Brahma-bhuta. Very critical. What's my knowledge? What's my understanding? What's my determination? What's my happiness? These are subtle. The interaction of the mind, the Gyanendriyas. Karmendriyas in the pink one. And the first one is general characteristics for everything, including matter. Because even matter is made out of the moles. Now, does that help you? Our total is 17. So let's go with 10 plus 7. In the Bhagavad-Gita, 17 items are described. Why? Because we are in them. Does everybody appreciate the importance of this section? How many of you found this to be new? This was the first time you knew all of this. Some of you already knew this. Okay. Some of you are scholars, so you know. Okay. So now we know that this chapter. Now we are going to focus now on the 4 for today. So let's take a look at the words, and we will do symbols because actions help. The first thing, the first slokas, the first 9 are about conditioning. So everybody grab your wrist. You are in shackles. Don't think you're not. When I took initiation years ago, I didn't understand what was happening, but the first thing the spiritual master said was, never forget you're encaged. I didn't know I was encaged. I didn't know much at all. I still don't know much at all, but I know more than I did then. That's the first 9 slokas. How are we conditioned? Number 2, and the second section of 9 verses, it's the characteristics. So go like this. What characterizes these modes? And in that section of 9, the next topic is action. What does a person do? Everybody better do this, otherwise I'll point you out. We have to have full participation. Yeah, what does a person do? Okay. And what are the results of action? Because we live in a field of action-reaction. Every action brings an equal and opposite reaction without fail. You do something, you're going to get another reaction. How to act without reaction is called Krishna consciousness. That's the only way. If you do anything that's not fully Krishna conscious, you're going to get a reaction to some degree. And the 4th item is death. We all have to die. We don't like the concept, we don't like to talk about it, but according to the mode I die in, if I die in the modes, I'm not fully transcendental, where will I go? So that's important. So conditioning in the first 9 verses, characteristics, action and the result, and death in the second section, and the final 9 verses are how to transcend, how to get out. Very important. So is this helpful? Everybody understand the positioning here? Okay. I think that's the end of that section. That's so much more. Now, if you remember, if you were here for my last class, we started with a video that I thought helped. And that video was about an airplane, recall, and people said it did help. They understood, right, if I'm doing bhakti, I go to the airport and I get on the plane and I start it and I go faster and faster and faster, and when I hit lift, I get off the ground. I'm above the modes. So I have a little video now, and I'm going to try to fill in a narrative to go with this story. This video I thought was amazing. It fits perfectly. This is a story of a character I call Arun, and he represents, like Arjuna, our situation, and he is coming to the platform of awakening. So here we go. Watch carefully, and now I'm going to fill in what Aruna is thinking. Ready? Who am I? Where have I come from? And where will I go at death? Everything just brings me suffering. Everything I try for happiness results in misery. I'm just a fool. Amazingly, when those questions arose in my mind, by providential arrangement, devotees of Lord Krishna came into my life. They told me that I was not this body. I thought, what? Of course I'm this body. No, you're not this body. You're an eternal spirit soul, eternally part and parcel of Krishna. And you have a body because you have forgotten your eternal position with Krishna. If you simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna will come to you. As I reflected on this, I realized what they were telling me. That I was totally under the control of higher forces. That every movement I made that I thought I was creating independently was actually under the control of strings. I couldn't even move my hand independently. The realization was a shock. I looked up and I wondered, well, who's controlling this? Who's controlling me? The devotees always had an answer. They said there are 33 million devas who even control the lifting of your eyelids, what to speak of your hands and feet. Those strings are the modes of nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. They have you bound up like a puppet. And you're not alone. Everybody that you see is nothing more than a puppet on strings. Totally under the control of the three modes of material nature. If you think about it, that's how your body is moving. And that's how everybody's body is moving. The devotees seem to have had an answer for everything. But they said, if you just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna will send you the answers. He will help free you from this condition. Oh, I've been such a fool. You mean I've turned away from Krishna because I envied him? Such a deplorable condition. Arun, I'm here. I'm your eternal friend and master. Please trust me. when I've heard you ask those questions, I took full charge of your life. I sent you devotees. I've sent you the Bhagavad-Gita. And I will give you the knowledge to break those strings. It's possible. Chapter 14 will help you break the strings of bondage. All you have to do is have knowledge. Now, what do you think, Arun? Do you want the strings? Do you want to be in the material world under these strings? Can I offer you some benediction? No, don't tempt me like this, my Lord. I don't wish to be under these modes anymore. I wish to transcend them and come back to you. I wish to break all of these strings that are not only binding me, but everybody. And I pray that everybody will be helped to come free of those binding ropes that keep us shackled in the material world. By knowledge, in this chapter, I will know how I should see. I will know how I should behave. And I wish to know ultimately what I must do to transcend. Because without that knowledge, there is no hope of ever attaining you. My Lord, I'm a soul fully surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Okay? Yeah, everybody liked it, huh? That's us. And we're here to cut those ropes. And without this knowledge, not possible. Did you like that video?
Yes.
When I first saw it, I thought, this is perfect, right? Perfect. Okay. We're not, oh yeah, here we go. This is an amazing video. Only a few seconds. It's obviously in some museum, it's string art. But when I saw this video, it's called The Cosmic Laws of Harmony. It's exactly what everything you see is structured. It's structured on the modes. Those ropes are the structure of our bodies as well. That's it. It's amazing. Just a short thing, but you have to learn to start seeing this way. This chapter gives you transcendental vision. Everything, animate, inanimate, is based on the modes. Okay? Now, some more little previews. Yeah, I think I can probably go to the next videos. The videos are so helpful. I don't want you to think that we should have brought popcorn and something to drink for you, but they really say it all. You know, I mean, and I was a little nervous about this morning, but I thought, well, worst comes to worst, these instructional things. Krishna consciousness is two things. It's a science and an art. Prabhupada stresses that. He said, this is a science of spiritual self-realization. And he even says, you know, philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Religion without philosophy is fanaticism or sentiment. Both are dangerous. But he has said the art, in the second chapter, the art of Krishna consciousness means how to act without being bound up. That's only impossible in Krishna consciousness. So now I have a cute little video on the art, the science. And even Da Vinci, the famous artist, said that. He said, genius is seeing the science in art and the art in science. So I happened, because of my karma, to have studied art and been an art teacher before I came to Krishna consciousness. So I can relate to that. We had to study color physics, not just how to mix a color. This is a cute little video. I don't want to use up all the good things at the beginning. But it's a cute little video on how scientifically the three basic colors make everything. So you see here a little experiment. This fellow took three colors, red, yellow, and blue, and a piece of paper. So you watch what he's doing. He's folding a piece of paper, and he's going to place it between the clear cups and fold it in half so the paper becomes a conductor of the water. And with the three colors in some of the containers, the water will, by osmosis, will create a mixture in the in-between cups. So he shows you how to set it up, and he has his food coloring. I would have done this, but I don't have really good food coloring colors. Now see, he's got the red and the yellow and the blue, and then he put red again because you're going to get red and yellow. Now watch what happens. After a little time, those of you who have study groups or children, this is a nice experiment for them. It's a science experiment. Do you see how the red and blue are creating the purple, and how the red and yellow are creating the orange, and how the blue and the yellow are creating the green? And he's putting the finished strips of paper out for you to see. You can see the effect of osmosis. There you go. So this is actually the science of mixing colors. And of course, if you put them all together, which is what he did, you get black. Okay? So that's the science. Now, when we have science, we need to know what I do with it. Here is an artist, and in just a very short video, you will see she used only three colors and created what we call photographic realism, watercolor, with only yellow, red, and blue, which Prabhupada says represent goodness, passion, and ignorance. So watch this painting emerge. She started with a picture. She put in the light areas. Everything on this page is made with those three colors. So everything you see is an infinite mixture of those three colors. That is why the whole world has unlimited variety. And this, you called it a negative painting, where they do watercolors, so they start with the light and then they go darker and darker, but with glazing, they work with the negative shapes. Very effective. So you can see, this is what you call, this is the art of it. This person knows the science, but look what she could do with it. Did you find those all helpful? Yeah, these are our introductory slides. Now what we're going to do next is we'll take out our study guides. Okay, we'll get a little bit more serious. Yeah, if I can show the folders on that too. Pardon me, I'm a little bit slow, but by Krishna's mercy. Topics. I think we'll just hold up the folder. Okay. All of you, please take out your study guides. Do you have your study guides? Yeah. Everybody got a study guide? Okay. You didn't? I hope we have enough. Study guides are materials, because in a class like this, we have to have a variety, because we have all kinds of people here. We have people who are just dropping in out of, curiosity. We have people who are scholars. So a study guide incorporates something for everybody. It has very technical sections, but it has also some general sections, and it has some activities, some charts. This study guide is also a composite of previous study guides, but there are new features. Let's take a look at what we have. We always have to check our resources to see what we have. So let's go through it together. I'll just hold mine up. You've got the cover, which tells us the title and the chapter number, okay? And this is what we're going to do. Our activity will be, as soon as we run through the study guide, we'll be filling in what we should know today. This is what we call take-home points, takeaway points. Everybody should know the basics, not just come and we'll watch some inspiring videos. And then we have a more technical study, 2 pages study guide itself. And then we have the new features. We have the verses are done with what I call the title words, because today when we see the verses slides, we will see just the title word slide. Because the idea of this is how to learn how to study. You study progressively. You don't just start with the details. You always start from general to more and more specific, and that can be unlimited. You can spend, like Bhaktisiddhanta did, I think it was how many, 18 days on the first sloka from the Bhagavatam. It's not limited, but you have to start with the big picture. If you don't know where you are. Okay, and these are broken down according to our topics. We'll be doing the topics. We've talked about them briefly. The next section are the key thematic verses. And if you see that on that page, you have 7. How many do you have? 7. You have 7 key thematic verses. And the interesting thing is, 4, 6, 7, and 8 all come from the first section. 18 comes from the middle section, because it's about death. Because that's important. When I die, I should know in advance where I'm going to go, or where I at least would like to go. Many people don't want to talk about it. Devotees more mature. 26 and 27 are critical. These are how to transcend the modes. That's the final section. And Arjuna asks 3 questions in that section, and Krishna answers. So those verses are presented for you in complete with the Sanskrit, word for word, and icons as well with the translation. So that's quite detailed. Because those are verses that the preachers are supposed to know by heart. Key memory, you have 2 of them. Number 4 and number 26. Those are required for Bhakti Shastri. Definitions are, it's old material, but it's coming from, I dissect each section. Any word that Prabhupada uses in the purport, any reference, I put it there. This is like a reference. This is a reference section, very detailed. Okay? Analogies and examples. I had done a lot of slides on this before. We have sort of new material today. And those are done according to the 3 topics. Verse objective checklist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go through Prabhupada's purports in which he describes what you should do or be or think. And I give you a numerical raising. You know, you have to be your own manager. You're self-managing. No one's going to run around and tell you, hey, you're in the mode of ignorance. Maybe, but it's not so polite. So you have to monitor your own progress. So, number 1, do you understand what the modes of nature are, how they bind, and how they're straight out of the book. I just picked up the sentence. But you say, well, do I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I don't. But that's what I want to know. So this is very detailed, but very helpful to you. If you have a little bit of time on your own, use these study banks. Don't just put them somewhere and you forgot about them. These take hours of work. The list of cited verses, out of the 27, we have 9, which Prabhupada quotes a lot. And you'll see some he quotes a lot, and others perhaps once. Actually, there were no lectures on this chapter, surprisingly. No lectures. I always like to listen to Prabhupada's lectures because he'll give an insight that is just out of this world. There were no lectures available on this chapter. Scriptural references that are Prabhupada cites in his purports, he's always authoritative. So that those references are there. And now we have our little charts. You'll see where we are in that section. The first is from the little book I have on mind mapping this Bhagavad-Gita. You have the Gyan Yoga section. We are in 1427. So as a little exercise, you can go home and you can fill in all those numbers. Chapter 13, you could put had 35 verses. Chapter 14 had 27. Okay? These are exercises. We will only do one exercise right now together. We're going to do, yeah, this is the mind map for this chapter. You have the 3 topics, and you could at home fill that in. 1427 is the chapter and the size, and then you can put in the little codes for the terms. What's the title? And then you have picture charts. If Abhay were here, you could see these on the screen in color, but we can't lament. And here are the key verses again with fill in the blank. This is activities for you, because if you write something, it goes up to 70% retention. People don't like to be active. They want to be passive, but active is ecstatic. Because you start feeling the difference, you know more, you remember more. And the whole idea is to remember. This one we want to do. Please turn to your charts and get your pens out. This is the themes in the Bhagavad-Gita. Now, before I looked this up in the VIG guide, I thought, oh, maybe 2. Only 2. But when I checked, 7. 7. So please mark them with me. Okay? You have a blank, right? You've got this one. Go down and mark the blanks, because you should know. The themes mean if you're preaching and somebody wants proof that I'm a soul and I transmigrate, you have to have the Shastric proof. You need to know, well, where? I've got the sloka. Krishna he's perfect, no higher authority. So let's put a star by number 1. And I will do the signal and you will do the signal. Number 1, if somebody doesn't believe I'm a soul and I transmigrate, you say you are a soul and you transmigrate. And the proof of this is verse 18. Where do you go at death? Because that's what it says. He goes either higher planets, middle planet, hellish world. Now, if you don't believe it, don't believe Krishna, that's your problem. Right? You're not open. So everybody put number 1, proof in 18, the soul and transmigration. Number 2, characteristics of a self-realized person. Okay? For that one, I should have noted all these. You will get those pretty much in 26 and 27. Actually, 26. 26. Because that is the one, that's the key memory verse. He has transcended the modes. Okay? Let's drop down to levels of God realization. That's 27 in the purport. Brahman is the beginning. In India, for many devotees said, well, before we came to Prabhupada, we thought Brahman was the ultimate. It's the preliminary stage. Then it's Paramatma and finally Bhagavan. So that's sloka number 27. You can put the number also next to the star. That way you can prove to somebody, here it says, defeating impersonalism, that's also number 27. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. Not that I'm under it, or I don't exist. Right? Then 10b, that's easy. The three modes of material nature. That's the whole chapter. Particularly in the first and second sections. The third section is how to get out of them. The first two describe them. The final section, how do I get out? We are trapped. And then we have Bhakti is 27 and Ananya Bhakti is 26. So you can number those. That's proof. You get it? Bhakti, the beginning of Bhakti, okay? But perfection is 26. Unmotivated, unbroken, without a break, unfailing. Who's there? I'm not. I'll tell you that. And then maybe I assume everybody else is because I'm not. But it's not so likely because unless you're Brahma Bhuta, you're still under the modes. And you're going to have to take another body. That's the terrifying part of it. You have to get out of them. You can't be in Krishna's association in a material body. You have to have your spiritual body to qualify. Is that helpful? Everybody got that? Okay. Now, we have, just for some variety here, we have three nice Amadajis who by Krishna's grace sent them me. And they're going to help us revise the 4 topics that we have to know. You ready? And then we're going to go back to our little retention stuff. So we will have them come up and stand in front of the picture. Can you 3 ladies come up? Actually, this may look a little silly, but we do remember little skits. I remember when I took VIG under Srimati years ago. Srimati, she was so creative, and she, you know, I still remember beakers of colored water. There wasn't a single class of hers where there weren't memorable images. And I remember even certain devotees were doing little skits. I still see the skits. So what we think might be a little childish actually creates a deep impression. It helps us understand our situation. So these 3 ladies are here. They are not, we're not saying they're the modes. They are above them are the devas that are awarding the results of a particular mode. Okay, so now we are going to talk about, and what you do, you hold up your arms like this. We're going to talk about conditioning in goodness, passion, and ignorance. What's the first one? Conditioning. So go like this. How am I chained up? I'm chained. That's not a joke. It looks like a birthday party. It's not a birthday party. It's a life and death issue. How am I chained by those different modes? Okay? The second topic, what are my characteristics? Okay? In goodness, in passion, and in ignorance. The third topic, and characteristics, we go like this. Yeah, what characterizes me? The third thing we need to know, what are my actions? So everybody go like this. In goodness, am I acting in goodness? Am I acting in passion? Or am I acting in ignorance? And what will be the result? Because action brings reaction. You can't separate them. And the final thing is death. If I die in goodness, if I die in passion, and if I die in ignorance, Where do I go? Now, people may think, yeah, but I'm a devotee. I'm transcendental. Until you're Brahma-bhuta, you're not quite there. Because it's described in the Bhagavatam. Devotees practicing devotional service. You see them, and there are all kinds of devotees, right? Some are in goodness. Some are in passion. Some are in ignorance. And you want to know how you can tell? If you interact with someone who's in goodness, it will be pleasant, right? You'll have a nice exchange. It's nice. They're friendly. If you interact with somebody who's in passion, it's probably a little distressful. Right? It's, not quite. If you interact with somebody who's in ignorance, it's like madness. And don't think it doesn't happen. I'm sure you've experienced it, right? And that's why Prabhupada said this mission is so important. Because if the whole world is in the mode of ignorance, we have to be suffering like anything. It's madness. He said only Krishna consciousness distributed on a massive scale will elevate people, at least a percentage of them, to goodness, so there's peace and prosperity, because peace and prosperity come with goodness. Passion brings money and misery. Ignorance brings suffering, madness. Okay? So let us go over these again. In the mode of conditioning, let's find out. You put your hands up really high now. This one, okay. In the mode of goodness, I am conditioned by two things: happiness and knowledge. I'm happy, and because I have a greater sense of knowledge, I'm often satisfied. Prabhupada said that characterizes the scientist, the educator, the philosopher. They're happy in their work. And he said they just keep coming back doing that again. Like Shakespeare or some good scientist who's not sold out to the material energy. They're happy. But they're conditioned by two things. What? Happiness and knowledge. That will keep you here. It's binding. Okay? Let's see what happens in passion. So passion, put your hands up. What if I'm in passion? What binds me? The desire for the results of my work. Fruitive. I earn my money, it's mine. I keep it. And I want more. I'm never satisfied. Intense longing, intense desire. More, more, more. You see people who have wealth, what do they want? More. Bigger house. He said even if they spend money, they will be like opening hospitals or something. But it's for fame, subtle. Fame, appreciation, prestige. That's what they want. That's binding. And it brings misery. Money will not bring happiness. Prabhupada said it can't. Happiness is in goodness. If somebody says, I want to be happy, I said, come to the mode of goodness. That's the only way it's possible. In the West, the people, the richer they are, the more drugs they take. They're on drugs, pills. They can't sleep. They say in America, more people are going to psychiatrists. And it's not so much now, but it's a rich nation. So the money didn't help. Made it worse. Ignorance. Okay, let's see that one. What happens if I do something in ignorance? Now, it can change throughout the day also. In the morning, it's goodness. By midday, it's passion. And by evening, you'll see, by nighttime, it's harder to do things. They affect us. You're tired, maybe grumpy. If I act in the mode of ignorance, what's the result? Madness, indolence, sleep, foolishness, lethargy. Okay. Shall we quiz you now? Okay. Oh yeah, we had, those were the conditioning. Okay. Up again. Conditioning. How are you conditioned if you do something in goodness? Happiness and knowledge. Okay, next one. Passion. If I do something in passion, what will happen? Distress. If something didn't turn out well, you'll know it. Because you did it in passion. Right? You'll know it. They'll bring that a result. Oh, that was passionate. That's why this happened. What if I do something in ignorance? Madness, lethargy, sleep. You know, maybe you lost your temper. Don't think it can't happen. Right? Okay. All right, let's run through the next item. We're going to run through characteristics. Goodness. Hold up your hands. Characteristics in goodness. A person who's in goodness, go touch your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth. A person in goodness, he's illuminated. The 9 gates are open. They're open to see things as they are. You see as you should see. You hear as you should hear. You smell as you should smell. You taste as you should taste. You are illuminated. The 9 gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. You can tell by looking at a person's face. His eyes are open, he's bright, he's aware. Prabhupada said, in the mode of goodness, you see things as they are. Why in the temple, when you go to the temple, smell the flower, you know, taste the prasadam, hear the Bhagavatam. All of those gates are open, not only for goodness, they're open for transcendence. We want to go above. Okay? So you are illuminated. Now let's go to passion. What's characteristic of that one? Intense desire, longing, never satisfied. That's characteristic. If you're not satisfied, you transmigrate to fill that satisfaction. That's why the Brahmins are satisfied. They know better. If I have a desire, I have to take a body to fulfill the desire. I want to go to Goa. I want to go to China. I want to visit Alaska. Every place you go, you take a body to do it. And you plant seeds for millions of bodies. Dangerous place, this world. Agree? What happens if I do something in ignorance? That person, I quote, I think it's in the canto in which Dhruva starts killing all the yakshas who didn't do anything. And Swayambhuva Manu comes and said, Dhruva, stop it. One brother you killed, but all these people you're killing in revenge. He said, a person in the mode of ignorance, Dhruva, becomes a source of dread. You stay away from them. Right? They become a source of dread. Have you ever been around people like that? I'm sorry, I'll be respectful, but from a distance. Dhruva, you are a source of dread if you do this. This is not your position. You're supposed to set the example. Okay? So that's what happens in ignorance. All right. Now let's see what the action again. I think we can understand the action in goodness. Put your hands up. Action in goodness. That will be purifying. It purifies us. Hold up passion. Action and passion. It increases your greed. Makes it worse. Action in ignorance, it increases your madness. Degrees of it get worse and worse and worse. You keep descending to the lower life forms. It's a downhill trip. Okay? And the final one is death. Hold it up. If I die in goodness, and we don't want to do that either, we go to the higher planets of the sages. Now, I'm going to... I'm going to show you these ropes, because it helps to see, according to the degree of the development of a mode, the bondage becomes greater or lesser. The further you go down into the hellish planets, the ropes become thicker proportionately, because they're so sinful. The higher you go, the chains become, according to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, like a golden chain. Fine. Can't even see it. But they're still attached. They don't get out. They're invisible golden threads. So degree is important. How much ignorance, how much passion, how much goodness. Okay? So everybody understand all that? So we say give them a clap. Thank you so much. Did that help you? Okay. So you ladies can now sit down. Very nice. And we can return your golden chain. Here you go. Mataji, thank you. I don't want to forget it and lose it. This is your necklace. Okay. So this is very serious business. I hope this is all helping everybody. Okay. Because we could focus a lot on, the study. Let's go back to our study guide now, because we have to balance. Have something a little bit visual with something more serious. Okay, let's go back and start filling in what you should know today. Chapter title. Are you all on the inside of your cover? Got it? You got your pens? Get your pens out. And now you are in school, and this is your test. We want to make sure everybody knows the right answer. No, this page. This page, sorry. Got it? Let's use your check. This is what we call retention checklist. Take home points. What must I know when I go out that door? Otherwise, I have failed. It's not you who failed, I failed. Because in facilitation, the blame is on the facilitator, not on the people. That's why we go to so much trouble to have little thises and videos, because actually in education, some people think the blame is on the student. The blame is on the facilitator because he didn't present it. So I hope this helps everybody understand. The 3 modes of material nature is the chapter title. What's the chapter title? Modes of material nature. Does everybody know that? Yes. Check off. Okay? If somebody said, oh, what was that class about? Oh, the 3 modes of material nature. You should know that. What's the number? 14. It's the 14th chapter. We're in the second of the Gyan, right? We had 13, that was the first Gyan. 14 is the second one. And this is the one that gives us vision of the ropes, the strings. How many verses? 27. Now this is easy to remember, because if you did math a little bit, each section is 999. Triple. Actually, 3 is important all the time. The Gita's in 3 parts. Something that's important, Harinama, 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 you say it 3 times. A paragraph has 3 parts. Introduction, body, conclusion. Prabhupada said those 3 things exist everywhere. Higher, middle, lower. 27 is a multiple of 9. So each of these sections is 9 plus 9 plus 9. And what's your total? 27. Which is our section? Gyan. Now, if you were to walk out of here, would you be able to pass this test? Get 100? Yes? Everybody?
Yes.
You too? Okay. Now, we talked about there are 3 topics. I'm sorry, 4 topics, right? What's our first one? Do your signal. Yes, conditioning. How am I tied up? You are tied up whether you can see the ropes or not. The second one is what? Characteristics, action, and death. Right? And well, there are 3 topic sections. I'm sorry, we had 4 items, but we have 3 topic sections. And the final section is what? Transcending. Okay, I got that a little confused. Sorry. We have 3 topic sections, 4 items. Are you clear? Different. Because the last one is how to get out. Okay, let's do our numerical checklist. Number 1. Who is the original father of everybody? Krishna. Everybody got that one right? That's verse number 4. I'm the seed-giving father. 3 things. 3 things that are ingredients. Kshetra, that's your body, of everything you see. Jiva, and Ishvara, that was chapter 13. Everything you see, you have to know that's nature and Jiva, but who's the controller of both? Number 1. Another thing that's 3. What are the 3 modes of nature? Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Goodness, passion, ignorance. This is not a hard test. But believe it or not, a lot of people on the planet don't know this. 3 stages of God realization. What's the first one? And in the purport, Prabhupada says this is the beginning. What's the second? That's middle. And what's the ultimate? Bhagavan. The 5 great elements. This is repeated again. What are they? Ether. I hear. These are your Gyanendriya. How do I acquire this knowledge? You're listening. I hear. What's the next one? Air, touch. Each one is more. They evolve. What's the next one?
Light.
Yeah, without light, I can't see. I can see form because of light. What's the next one? Water, taste. Taste. And what's the last one? Earth. Fragrance. I smell something. Fragrance comes from earth. Earth, each one contains the other one. Just like the rasas. Madhurya ras contains the other 4. Vasalya ras contains the other 3. Sakya ras contains the other 2. Same thing. Okay? What's the next one? The 9 gates, everybody, these have to be illuminated knowledge. That means don't let anything go into your eyes, ears, nose, mouth. It's not beneficial. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, your mouth, anus, genitals. All of those have to be opened by knowledge. Illuminated, that's in goodness. Everything should bring you to goodness. And the process of devotional service, that's important because that's described in the end. How do I do this? Well, Shravanam, Kirtanam, those 9 you know. Okay? Now we're going to quickly see, I hope I can get this up. The computer go for too long. We've got so many slides to see and some more videos. Okay, we always run up to 7 o'clock. I take advantage of that because I hope this opens. All right. We'll now take a look at a series of slides, because mostly this is visual, on how to change the modes. This is coming from the Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 13, verse number 4. These items you must bring to goodness. So watch this carefully. I used a panoramic format. I've done this with a few other topics chapters. Okay. 10. Hold up 10 fingers. According to the Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 13, verse number 4. Krishna is explaining to Uddhava. This is the Uddhava Gita, which is the Bhagavad-Gita in more detail, because Uddhava is a scholar. How to change the modes. Be sure you do these in goodness. Now, I didn't even do that. I went to transcendence. I use pictures that are transcendental because that's what we want. We don't want to just be pious. That will send us to Brahmaloka. What happened? It's not showing up on the screen? What happened? How do we connect again? We got a problem here? Is it coming on now? I can see it, but you can't? This is too bad, huh? Do you have any idea why the thing isn't? Can you want to come and do something here? It's very important you see these slides because they help you remember. I have to see. It's Sony, what's happening? Luckily, he's a friend of mine who has done computer work, and I don't know anything about this. Echo mode, okay. Are we getting the picture now? Okay, there we go. That's the actual sloka. Oh, Krishna. Let's hope we can see this. These are the items, okay? Repeat after me. The scriptures. Right? The next would be, they have drinking choices. I don't know if I followed this order. Let me just go the way I did the slides because I don't know if I followed this order. Okay, number 1. The scriptures that you read, we have plenty of them. Look at all the books Prabhupada gave us. So what's the first thing? Yeah, what do I read? Okay, the next one. The water that I drink. Now they listed water but not food, so I showed some water that's infused with some fruit. Because food is a big conductor of consciousness. What I eat, I am what I eat. Right? There's water plus fruit. And another one. A lot of people do these. They detox drinks now. It's very popular. The next one. My association. You can judge a man by the company he keeps. If you don't know somebody, just see who he associates with, and you'll know. If you associate with a drunkard, Prabhupada says you become a drunkard. Now, do these boys and girls look as though they're happy? Happy? Yes. Illuminated, bright-faced. The places that I go, where do I go? Now, where's this? This is Kartik in Vrindavan. Most of us can't even get in the door anymore, right? The time I do something, morning, noon, night, very much affects what I do. Kala, time. Karma, what do I do? My actions. I love this picture. You get 3 different kinds of people here. Book distribution. What do I do? The birth I took, that's going to affect me because of our samskaras. And here's a very happy looking devotee baby. He's fortunate, huh? It's a good opportunity. My meditation. What do I meditate on? I love, this is a classic picture of Tulsi. This devotee is really fixed on his worship. Because what you're doing externally may not be what you're thinking about. You can be dressing the deity and thinking about New York. You don't want to do that. But he's thinking about Tulsi. The mantras I chant, what do we chant? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. The Maha Mantra, a great mantra for deliverance. And 10? Samskaras. Yes. For purification. You take initiation, you go through ritual. Right? Purification. So do you see those 10? Did that help you? Those should always be in transcendence. Don't be satisfied with goodness. You don't want to be Lord Brahma. We've already been that. And we fell down to this platform. Okay? Everybody find that helpful? Okay, let's look at a little boy named Prahlad. Prahlad represents the beginning of devotional service. And I used him for the qualities that represent transcendental symptoms. In Sloka 21, Arjuna asks 3 questions. Number 1, what are the symptoms of somebody who's transcendental? Then what is his behavior? And finally says, and how do we transcend? So Prahlad is the perfect example because Prahlad is used as the example of someone who is the beginning of devotional service. So let's see what happens with Prahlad. Okay, and basically in this verse, look at the words illumination, attachment, and delusion. These are the modes. Illumination is knowledge, is goodness, attachment is passion, and delusion is ignorance. You don't long for them or you don't hate them. You're neutral. The word that comes up is neutral. I'm not affected anymore. I don't long for it and I don't hate it. I'm unwavering, I'm undisturbed because the modes are acting and reacting. I can't stop them. Can you stop the ocean from making waves? No, you get out of it. He knows there's nothing going on except the modes. This is his understanding. Number 3, he's situated in the self and he regards alike happiness and distress. Now, if you're under the modes, you're happy when you get something good and you're distressed when you get something bad. So you'll know, I'm still under the modes. He sees the same way. He's neutral, he's equal, he's unaffected. Ask yourself. Number 4. Now this is interesting. This is like in the 6th chapter. This is the external condition. I look at a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an eagle eye. That's easy. Oh yeah, lump of earth, gold. It's the same thing. But more advanced, and this is in chapter 6 with Dhyan Yoga, more advanced is somebody who's not favorable. Desirable, undesirable, friends and enemies. That's hard if you're under the modes. Are you going to be equal to an enemy as to a friend? Only Prahlad. He's steady, equally well in praise and blame, honor. This is how his behavior. He doesn't demand respect or care. He has nothing to do with it. He treats alike friend and enemy. This is his behavior. He's renounced all material activities like the puppet. I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. He has transcended the modes of nature. Do those help you? Those are described in the final section. Okay. Now, a little bit of, we go back to the, now we're going to run through sloka slides really fast because it's interesting now to see, we're going to do a fast run through. I prefer, sorry for taking so long. PG charts, verses, okay, here we go. We have many folders here, but the one I'm choosing will take us through just the title word, that's enough. Because this is an overview. These are the 9, you see these 9? These are the 9 that we're going to get for topic 1, conditioning. And then we're going to get 9 more for topic 2, characteristics, action, and the modes. So we're going to run through the words really fast. Because you've got the slokas. We don't need to read them again. But you need to remember the trigger word. We call it the word that brings it to mind. And 9 more verses for topic 3, transcending. Okay? So here we go. What's the word? Declare. Krishna's going to declare, this knowledge is better than anything I told you before. Why? Because if you are established in knowledge, you attain me. That's a good deal. Why? Number 3. How did we wind up here? Number 3. Krishna looked at the material energy, glanced at it, and impregnated it. We were impregnated into the material energy. That's our history. How did we come here? Impregnated. Krishna's the Father. And he says so in number 4. What is he? He's the seed-giving Father, the famous verse. He's our Father, who art in heaven. He's not in heaven, he's in Goloka. Number 5. When we came in contact, what happened to us? You saw the ladies there. We become conditioned by those modes. And goodness, we're bound by happiness and knowledge. Passion, we're bound by, yes, desires, longings. Fruitive. Ignorance, we're bound by madness. And here's what happens. Literally. Don't think you're not shackled. Now we go to the next section. Oh, this is another way to show that. There's a summary verse, number 9. Krishna does that. He summarizes in the summary verse how passion, goodness, and ignorance bind you. Now the next section, competition. This is the tough part. These modes are competing. That's why you don't want to stay here. Sometimes I'm in goodness, but sometimes I'm in passion, sometimes in ignorance. When I'm in goodness, my gates are what? Illuminated. When I'm in passion, what am I? Attached. When I'm in ignorance, where am I? I'm in darkness. The sages, they are in the mode of goodness, right? The great sages. That's where those 2 slokas will tell you if you're in goodness, you go to where the sages are. 15 will tell us if you're in passion, you go to earth. And also if you're lower, they combine 2. You go into what species? Animal. 8 million forms, lower forms. Tigers, birds, elephants, reptiles. endlessly, and you have to work back up. Don't blow the chance. The result, and summarizes goodness, passion, ignorance. Again, he summarizes the result. You see the three masks? Goodness, passion, ignorance. Who do you want to associate with? The guy in the middle? The one on the right? How about the one on the left? A little better, right? Just take a look at their face. You just have to look at a person's face. Now, what happens in 17? Goodness, you become pure. Right? What happens? You become pure. Passion, you become greedy. And ignorance, you become mad, foolish. And 18 is a famous verse. Remember where we go? You go to heaven in goodness. You go to earth in passion. And you go to the lower regions in ignorance. Now, the last section starts with 19. Now, Krishna is going to repeat why this is important. One who sees only these modes acting and I'm in control, he attains my nature. He repeats it. And even in this body, you can taste nectar. What are the symptoms? Now, Arjuna is asking the three questions in 21. What are the symptoms? What's his behavior? And how do I transcend? So I took just 4, because there are 4 verses. He doesn't hate or desire. He's neutral. That's the important word. And he's equal. Equality, neutrality. Those are the key words. If you feel the opposite duality, you're still under the modes. But one who's transcended those, that's number 25. He can be said to have those 4 descriptions, those 4 slokas that answer Arjuna's question. Now here we get the key verse. What is 26? 100%, 100%, 100% all the time. That's a big score. If you were in school, did you get 100% every time on every test? And this verse defeats the person. I'm the basis of Brahman. Okay, got that. Okay, so we're going to now have 2 quick little videos, because I think they will help you, and it's running over time, but these videos, we need a little humor, and then we will end with knowledge. Because I like to have humor. When you have something serious, it can be a little heavy, but it's pretty cute. It's puppets. Because remember, when you go to the temple now, what are you going to see? Puppets. These are pretty funny. So these ice skaters, they think they're skating, but they're under the modes. You watch these Olympic stars. You'll see the modes too with these little puppets. You'll see all 3. This is very funny. That does happen sometimes. And of course, she's mode of passion. And mode of ignorance. Battery's running low. We're going to be running out soon. Battery's running. Let's hope we make it to the end. This is too cute. And here's the fool. That's everybody who thinks he's independent, right? He's the fool. And we ran out. We didn't get to see the last video. Okay, that one, the last video was from Who You Are Human, but I think you got the point. Thank you. We made it by your mercy. It's a little past 7, but I think this clock runs fast. Be sure you accept prasadam. I hope, despite my inability to run the computer quickly enough, you still found it helpful. Did somebody learn now to see everybody as a puppet? Yes. And you know what the 4 qualities are in chapter 14? 4 items? And you know the chapter number? 7. And the title? And the 3 topics? And you know what it takes to be transcendental? A+. 100%. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhyo vicha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavibhyo namaha.